Well, we talked about Ohio State and how they had a little bit of drama going on with their coaching staff, and it feels like things are only getting slightly more dramatic, but at the same time, slightly less believable that they are as dramatic as they are. So, very interesting stuff here coming out from my guy, Mike Washman. So on Thursday, my guy Mike tweeted this out here. We'll point to it this way. Been on a couple shows with Mike over there at College Football with Sam. Like Mike, he does a good job. He covers Ohio State locally, and so he's got some good info over there. And a long time writer, guy who covers. He's got some good inside sources over there, and so he decided to share some of these in his tweet. And he decided to hit on the three coaching positions in Ohio State right now, the three main positions. So he has a very short note on the offensive coordinator. So let's go ahead and start with that. Mike says that the interviews for the offensive coordinator will begin next week. This is January 15th, Thursday, January 15th right now. So sounds like next week, in the, January 19th to probably 24th, 23rd. I'm making up dates here off the top of my head, but probably sounds like sometime next week. And this would make sense. I mean, Ohio State with all the chaos of the portal and everything else, and it looks like they're really starting to take into shape what they're going to do on with their roster. They let a number of guys go off the team this year, and then now they've brought in a number of guys who have more experience, still some young guys, but guys with more playing experience that they seem to maybe believe in a little bit more. From all the indications out there, sounds like Ohio State is kind of on maybe about three different guys for the position. We don't have a whole lot of information on it. Mike didn't share a whole lot here. The three names that I feel like have been, discussed the most and maybe hinted at the most are Brian Daboll, Todd Monken, and Garrett Riley. So Brian Daboll, obviously former New York Giants head coach. He was the Alabama offensive coordinator in 2017. Successful there at Alabama, not so successful with the Giants, but as you've seen from Matt Patricia, you don't necessarily have to be a successful head coach in the NFL to be a successful coordinator in college football. Get to Matt Patricia here in a minute. But Brian Daboll, I don't know if he's actually the guy that they're going to go after. It sounds like from the media and the kind of spin that they've done is that he's been kind of the model of who they want to go after. Not necessarily him, but kind of the model. I think other guys that fit into that model might be like a Cliff Kingsbury, but I don't see him going to Ohio State. He doesn't really jive with what Ryan Day wants to do and stuff. But Brian Daboll makes sense. I mean, had a really good offense at the Bills when he was there. He quarterback. He's done well with quarterbacks, and so he could come in and be something like that. We'll see what happens here. But the other one that makes a whole lot of sense for Ohio State is Todd Monken. Todd Monken, he did interview for. He is expected to interview for multiple offensive coordinator positions in the NFL. So he would probably be the least likely, just from the fact that it sounds like he possibly could make his way on over to one of these NFL jobs. But as you see, it's harder to sometimes get more notable thoughts about you in the NFL as an offensive coordinator, especially with injuries and working through all that stuff. It's possible that Todd Monken can look and see what Chip Kelly got in 1 year at Ohio State, essentially $6 million, and say, well, that worked out for him. I'll try my hand and go see if I can do that too. And then Garrett Riley being the last one, as he's seen as kind of like a buy low candidate a little bit, has a lot of upside with bringing TCU to the national championship game when he was the offensive coordinator there. But essentially what they want to do more than anything else is they want to bring in somebody who's an outside hire. They do not want to, have somebody that Ryan Day kind of has to hold the hand of with the offense or anything like that. They want to bring in somebody so Ryan Day can be that CEO like he was when Ohio State won the national championship last year. Or in 2024, it's 2026 now. So we'll see how that goes. The other note that Mike shares on here is that there's no word on if Matt Patricia is staying or leaving for the NFL yet. The flood of defensive players coming in gives me confidence, as it sounds like it does here with Mike as well. I feel good about Matt Patricia staying, but at the same time, there's still eight head coaching positions open in the NFL. And while I don't think Matt Patricia is going to be considered for any of those, I do think that guys who get hired could possibly reach out to Matt Patricia and want him to maybe be their defensive coordinator. Brian Flores, the current Vikings defensive coordinator, he's going to have interest from guys like, or he has had interest from what I've read, of places like the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Las Vegas Raiders, the Tennessee Titans. You know, he has strong ties to the Belichick tree, and he actually spent nearly a decade in New England with Matt Patricia there. So there could be some strong ties there. If Brian Flores gets a head coaching job, that would honestly probably be one of the ones I'd be the most concerned about. Jeff Hafley is another one. He's the Packers defensive coordinator. And Packers head coach Matt LaFleur publicly stated that he expects Hafley to land a head coaching job this cycle. So wherever that might be, I think he's interviewed with the Falcons. I think the Steelers have shown a little bit of interest as well. He had a brief stint with the Patriots right after Patricia left in 2018 and 19, right before he came to Ohio State. So he was under Belichick there. There could be a little bit of familiarity, but I would not be too concerned about Hafley hiring away Patricia. He might try to go with somebody else. And then the last one, this is a very much so kind of like sleeper candidate here that might hire him away, and that is Mike Vrabel over there at the Patriots. Now, the Patriots, they are still in the playoffs. They are playing the Texans on Sunday, and in fact, on FanDuel, Patriots are favored by 3 points in that one. So it looks like they will most likely win, but you never know. It is the NFL playoffs. Stranger things have happened. And their defensive coordinator, Terrell Williams, he did suffer from prostate cancer this season and had to miss some time in the NFL. If things do not go well with Terrell Williams and maybe he retires or something like that, I'm not saying, well, like not go well, like anything bad happens to him. God forbid that happen. But, maybe he decides to retire. Maybe he decides to hang it up or just leave the program for a little bit or whatever it might be. Mike Vrabel would definitely be somebody who would be interested in Matt Patricia from his time with the Patriots and everything else. I don't think that will happen. It sounds like every indication is that Terrell Williams will return as the defensive coordinator at the Patriots, and especially this season with them getting to the playoffs and having such a high seed and everything. And then the final one is Ryan Day, and the rumor that Mike put out there that Ryan Day, he had the Ravens reach out to them about their head coach vacancy. So Ryan Day, Ravens connection in this one. Could this be where Ryan Day goes? Ryan Day has long been rumored somebody that would like to get back to the NFL. He, made a lot of time as a quarterback coach in the NFL, spent some time with Chip Kelly there, and has always kind of been dubbed more of an NFL coach than a college coach. And it's worked out for him here recently at Ohio State, especially with the NFLization of the sport happening. So I do think that at some point Ryan Day will go off to the NFL, especially if things in college football are not fixed sooner than later, with how crazy everything is getting. But I don't think it's going to happen this year. Number one, I don't think there's enough demand for him to be offered a bunch of jobs. And number two, I just don't think Ryan Day's ready for that yet. I think he wants to continue to be at Ohio State, be there while his family grows and everything, or not grows, but as his family continues to move on and his son goes off to college and everything else. So we'll see what happens, but it feels like, even if this is true, what Mike is saying here, that the Ravens have contacted Ryan Day, or at least contacted Ryan Day's agent, I would assume, then I do think that this is most likely a scenario where it doesn't happen. Only one team being mentioned here. Probably not going to happen this year, but I would expect Ryan Day to move on and be a head coach in the NFL someday. So let me know what you think down in the comments section. If you're a Ohio State fan, are you nervous? Are you itching about this? Or are you feeling pretty good? You're like, no, Ryan Day, he's sticking around. Matt Patricia, he's sticking around. I tend to think that Matt Patricia and Ryan Day will both stick around, but you never know. Matt Patricia's had a good year in college football. I think if they excelled a little bit more, maybe if they got to the national championship or won the national championship, maybe things would be different. But the fact that they got knocked in the first game there against Miami feels like those guys are going to come back and maybe give it another shot. And we'll see what happens after next season.